All right, let's just jump right into an absolutely wild medical mystery for today's explainer. We've all seen this paradox, right? On one hand, you've got this elderly guy who's been chain smoking for literally decades, yet somehow his lungs are totally fine. And then, on the flip side, you have someone who's never even touched a cigarette, lived a super healthy life, and they tragically get hit with a severe lung cancer diagnosis. It's totally shocking, and honestly, it completely messes with our basic understanding of health.
So how in the world is that scientifically possible? I mean, some smoke for a lifetime and never get sick, while others do everything right and still get it. We've all heard the stories. Or, maybe you even have a relative who fits this exact description to a T. Well, today we're unpacking the hard evidence to figure out exactly what is going on beneath the surface. It actually all comes down to a constant, microscopic war raging inside the human body. It's the ultimate battle between a toxic chemical threat and your body's built-in natural defense. See, when cigarette smoke hits the lungs, it brings along dozens of chemicals that are explicitly known to cause severe DNA damage. But hey, you aren't defenseless. Your body immediately fires back with this incredibly sophisticated system of DNA repair proteins and specialized immune cells, and they're working around the clock to clear out those damaged cells. Now, this invisible war plays out in a relentless three-step cycle. First up, chemical entry. Every single cigarette drops thousands of harmful chemicals right into the lung tissue. Second is the DNA strike. These chemicals act like tiny microscopic missiles, directly striking your DNA and dramatically bumping up the chance of harmful mutations. But then step 3 kicks in, protein repair. Your repair proteins essentially swarm the damaged areas to patch up the structural breaks, while your immune cells race in to sweep away the cellular debris.
Okay, so why the huge difference between smokers? Well, a massive piece of the puzzle is genetics. We all inherit completely different genes, right? So some people just naturally have way stronger, super efficient DNA repair proteins compared to the rest of us. Their bodies are just literally better equipped to clean up that toxic mess left by the smoke. But, and this is a really critical takeaway here, absolutely no one is completely protected. Even if you've got superhero genetics, your natural defense systems can only take so much before they finally get overwhelmed.
And besides genetics, there's another wild factor at play here: pure blind luck. Developing cancer isn't just about being exposed to toxins. It's honestly a high-stakes game of microscopic roulette. For a normal cell to actually turn cancerous, harmful mutations have to slowly accumulate in very specific critical genes over decades. You can literally have cells dividing right next to each other, and one cell randomly develops severe mutations while the one right beside it stays perfectly healthy. It's crazy.
Which perfectly explains the other side of this paradox, right? Why non-smokers get sick. Because smoking isn't the only trigger out there. Air pollution is actually a huge factor. Then there's radon gas, which can silently just seep right into our homes. Secondhand smoke is another big one, forcing you to inhale those exact same harmful chemicals without ever lighting up yourself. And of course, inherited genetic mutations can just predispose you to the disease, completely regardless of how healthy your lifestyle is.
Now, we absolutely have to dismantle one of the biggest misunderstandings out there. Risk does not equal guarantee. What we're actually seeing with that healthy 90-year-old smoker is a classic case of survivorship bias. When we see an elderly smoker who looks totally fine, our brains just naturally want to conclude, oh, smoking must not be that dangerous. But seeing one person dodge the bullet doesn't make the gun safe. It just means that risk is never a certainty. You're literally just looking at a very lucky anomaly. Because think about it. For every single healthy, lucky smoker that you happen to notice, there are thousands, literally thousands, of invisible, suffering smokers that you don't see. They aren't out walking around the neighborhood or sharing their survival stories because, tragically, their lungs gave out. Fixating on that one lucky exception while completely ignoring the thousands of devastated families, that is a really dangerous mental trap to fall into.
When we step back and look at the absolute hard scientific reality, it's undeniable. Smoking remains the #1 preventable cause of lung cancer worldwide, bar none. Even if you hit the genetic lottery and just hope for the best luck, lighting up dramatically increases your risk. It forces your healthy tissue to constantly try and fight off a diseased state day in and day out, ultimately just overwhelming your body's natural defenses.
But wait, there is a deeply hopeful pivot here. Despite everything we just talked about, the relentless chemical strikes, the accumulated cellular damage, your body is just an unbelievably resilient machine.
In fact, it starts healing way sooner than most people even realize. The very moment you throw that cigarette away, your healthy lung tissue instantly kicks off the recovery process. Your DNA repair proteins can actually finally catch up because they aren't being constantly bombarded anymore.
Which brings us to our final and probably most important takeaway for today. Reduce risk, because every single cigarette matters. Sure, it is totally true that some smokers might just coast through life and never get sick thanks to a crazy combo of robust genetics and dumb luck. But absolutely nobody can predict who that lucky exception is going to be. So the best way to protect yourself is simple. Never start or quit today. Because when you can't possibly know if you're holding the winning cards, is that really a gamble worth taking with your life? Follow for more such explainers.